Welcome to Freedom Forest. In this video we're going to be planting some blight and virus resistant Sarpo potatoes, so keep watching. I've been interested in growing Sarpo potatoes for a number of years now and haven't got round to it. But the reason for my interest in them is because they are well known for their resistance to blight and potato viruses. And doing a bit of research into Sarpo, it seems the history of the company originates from a family in Hungary who were trying to breed potatoes that would withstand and thrive in their harsh conditions, not only the climatic conditions but the viruses and late blight that they would experience, and as well as being resistant or not requiring a lot of external chemical inputs to grow them, which makes them great for organic growers. So I've bought myself a set this year. I ordered them from the Potato House. Not at all sponsored by them in any way, but I was really impressed with their website, the range and the information they had on there. And the packaging is really nice, and the potatoes are all labelled really nicely as well. So let's have a little look at the varieties I've ordered. So the first variety is Sarpo Una, which are a second early, and they will be ready for kind of June-ish time. And they are a waxy salad potato, and you can also leave them in and they will give a large main crop as well. And the second variety is Sarpo Mira, which is kind of like the original variety that Sarpo became famous for. And these are a main crop variety, and they have pink flesh. And apparently, because this is the first time I've actually grown these, the foliage will actually grow very quickly and give a good shade covering around them to suppress weeds. But an interesting feature is they apparently will just keep growing until you harvest them. The foliage won't just naturally die back, and they keep getting bigger and bigger. So I'm very excited for this variety in particular. Next one is the Blue Danube, which is an early main crop, and they have the blue violet colour flesh and skin, I believe. And we do love our kind of weird and wonderful tubers here at Freedom Forest, so they'll be quite exciting. So the next variety is Exona, and these are another pink-skinned main crop variety, and I think they're described as the son of Sarpo Mira, which is the other pink-skinned main crop variety. And they're a slightly more compact version, but again, very interested to try. And our final variety is called Sarpo Kifri, who are a creamy fleshed salad potato. And these are an early main crop. So again, very excited because we love our waxy potatoes. And unrelated to the Sarpos, one of our favourite all-time varieties are Pink Fir, so had to get some more of those. As I mentioned, one of the key features that has attracted me to the Sarpo family of potatoes is the fact they apparently, and this is the first time we've grown them, so it's going to be very interesting to find out, have a very excellent resistance to potato viruses, which will cause quite a rapid degeneration in your potatoes if you try to grow them year on year. Now, viruses and the blight isn't so much of a problem if you buy fresh seed every year, but for us, if you've seen any of our other videos, for example our Why Are You Growing Potatoes as Annuals video, you'll know that we are really interested in growing our potatoes as perennials or replant perennials, where we literally harvest and put one back straight in the ground and that's the harvesting and the planting done. So they have the traits which seem to make them perfect for doing so, and on top of that, they're a great choice for organic growers as well. Another really interesting feature of the Sarpo potatoes is that they have an extended dormancy period, which means they're much more unlikely to start sprouting after you've harvested in storage, and they will quite easily go until April time, even May, without starting to shoot or chit. And as you can see, these ones just are now. They'll still be fine for planting, but if you want to put these on a warm windowsill a couple of weeks before you want to plant, that will actually speed up the process and get your plants established faster. So this bed behind me here is where we're going to be growing our Sarpo potatoes this year, and I'm keeping them separate from the other varieties we grow as replant perennials. And this bed has never actually had potatoes in, so it's going to be a fresh start, and if all goes well we will continue these on as perennials in these beds. So let's start doing some preparation. For those of you who are new to our channel, we're actually no dig growers, and we use a lot of permaculture techniques. And so for our potatoes, as well as nearly everything we grow, we use no dig beds with quite a deep mulch of compost on top of the soil, with a fine layer of between 2 and 4 inches of wood chips on top of that. Now, Laurie behind me here, you can see she is going along and marking out some staggered rows for our potatoes, simply by pulling back the wood chips and exposing the compost underneath. And we find that's a really good way of just marking out where our potatoes are going to go, instead of just planting one, covering it and going on like that. So I'll go and join her. I've got some plant labels. I'm very organised this year, so we can keep track of what's where. And yeah, let's get going. One of the most beautiful things about the no dig method is that we literally don't have to dig any holes, no 12-inch trenches filled with newspaper and compost. Literally, we're just going along and placing our tubers on the top of the compost, and after that we pile a handful of compost on top of the tuber and some wood chips on top of that. Give it a little water and that's the process complete. And if your tubers are already sprouting or chitting, then you want to aim to have those buds where the shoots are going to come from facing up as much as possible. So here is our wood chips and compost. The compost we're going to be using today is a mixture of 50% multi-purpose and 50% horse manure. Multi-purpose or just homemade compost would be absolutely fine, but that's just what we had in stock. And these are from local tree surgeons, the wood chips, and they are already about 6 months old, so they're not so green. So I'm literally just going to grab a handful, completely cover the potato. Also, one of the claims that Sarpo make for their family of potatoes is that, as well as the virus resistance, with the late blight resistance, that if the tubers actually, or the plants themselves, come into contact with blight, they'll often develop slight markings on the leaves, but that won't actually affect the tubers below, which is a great benefit as well. Okay, so it looks like we've now got a serious case of mole infestation here, but fear not, that is just our tubers covered with our compost on top, which the whole process so far has only actually taken about 15 minutes, which for an area this size used to take a lot longer when I wasn't using No Dig. So brilliant. Last job to do now is just to go along with our wood chips and cover these mounds with a few inches and give it a little water. And as I mentioned, we're just doing a 3 or 4 handfuls on each mound, just to give a couple of inches. And when we see the green shoots emerging, we'll add another couple of inches of wood chips on top again, and that will keep our potatoes safe from going green and a bit poisonous.
Whilst I'm just happily watering in these potatoes, can I ask all you lovely people to do us a huge big favour and click the thumbs up button just below this video to like the video, and also any of our other videos that you do like. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel as well, please do so on YouTube. And you can also follow us on Facebook or our new website www.freedomforestlife.co.uk. We're still eating last year's stored potatoes, so hopefully this season's will be just as successful, if not more so.
And do remember to subscribe to our channel to make sure you get to see part 2 of this video later in the season, where we do, hopefully, the massive harvest.
Peace and
plants!